Welcome to this webinar on the AMAC and MSc in Accounting and Financial Management at the UCD Smurfit Graduate Business School. I'll just wait a minute for people to join the webinars and then we'll get started. Hi, my name is John McCallig, and I'm the Academic Director of the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management and the Deputy Head of the Accountancy subject area. I'm joined on the webinar today by Monica Timlin, who's the Program Manager of the AMAC program and the MSc, and I'm also joined by Laura Keeley from Smurfit Admissions. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about both of these programs. During that time, you can post questions in the Q&A section, and Laura will answer them, or Monica will answer them as we're going along. And then at the end, we will also deal with any questions we haven't answered. We can deal with academic questions, or Laura can deal with questions on the admissions process to these programs. Okay, so we'll get started talking about these two accountancy programs in the UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. Many people want to get an accountancy qualification because it has multiple advantages. It really expands your career options. So if you just have an undergraduate business degree, obviously you have certain career options, but an accountancy qualification can really make a big difference in what you can do in your career. The main kind of things that people think about when they think about careers with an accounting qualification are within the finance team of a company. So that would be a big company like CRH or lots of other companies working within their finance team, being part of the financial management function within the company. And I guess many accountants would aspire to be the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of a company, and that is you know, their career goal. The second option is within accounting practice. This is working within an accounting services firm, providing advice, auditing, tax advice, and various other kind of services to clients. So you've, I'm sure, heard of the big accounting firms, the big four, and also there's a lot of other firms that provide professional services as well. And many accountants work within these firms. And for some accounting qualifications, you must have some experience within a practice firm in order to qualify as an accountant. Then many accountants go into finance after they finish accountancy. So they go into all kinds of finance careers, investment analysis, private equity, working within banks, working within the funds industry, and lots of other areas within finance. So an accountancy qualification is really well recognized within the finance industry, and you can expect to have jobs available to you that would not otherwise be available to you, and also to get career progression more quickly if you have an accounting qualification. And then lastly, there's consultancy. Many accountants become consultants later on in their career, either within an accountancy services firm or out on their own, or within a consulting firm. So I guess an accountancy qualification makes higher level jobs accessible to you that might not be accessible without an additional qualification. It is a long-term investment in your career. There is a certain amount of pain, obviously, involved in getting an accounting qualification. There's work experience periods. There's extra exams to be taken. But many people consider that this is an investment worth making for the advantages that it confers. Accountancy qualifications are in general well recognized internationally. So you can travel between jurisdictions and people will still recognize your accounting qualification. It might not be fully legally recognized in some other jurisdictions, but still being an Irish chartered accountant will be recognized in Australia. And if you need, if you need to the full suite of qualifications in Australia, then there are usually transfer arrangements that you can get, sort that out as well. And it provides a clear path to faster career progression. So it opens doors to you. And also once you're in an organization, it enables you to move faster up the line in the organization. It's a very well understood qualification. These qualifications have been around, some of them have been around for 150 years. So employers know what they're getting when they get somebody who has an accountancy qualification. And this makes recruitment easier as well. So in the UCD Smurfit School, we have two accountancy master's programs. One of them is the AMAC, and the other is the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management. So I'll talk briefly about the AMAC first. I guess the key advantage of the AMAC is that it gives you full exemptions from Chartered Accountants Ireland's CAP 2 exams. So after taking the AMAC, and I'll talk about this in more detail in a few minutes, after taking the AMAC, you can move on directly to the final admitting exam, FAE. You have to wait a year and then you can take the FAE. This is, we'll talk about this in more detail. I have a slide in a minute. The second key advantage of doing an MAC over going directly into the profession is that you have a master's degree from a well-respected and accredited university. So in Ireland, many people qualify directly with the institute by doing something like the BCom and going directly into those exams, the CAP 2 exams. However, in other countries, it's very common to have a master's. In Australia or America and many other countries around the world, it's common to have a master's before you take these exams. In some countries, it's compulsory to have a master's before you take those exams. So if you want to travel internationally, a master's is definitely going to be an advantage. Also in Ireland, a master's is considered a premium type of qualification route. And, you know, if you're competing in an organization against people from other areas, you can say you have both a master's and an accountancy qualification, whereas they may just have a master's, and that may be beneficial to you in your career progression. There's advanced material on the MAC that you may not encounter or may not encounter in the same detail in the Institute's exam. For example, we have a tax summer school that covers tax research and advanced tax topics, and actually also gets an additional exemption from the Irish Tax Institute. And we're also now covering more material about accounting technology and data analytics, which are obviously areas that are going to be of much interest to accountants. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to the AMAC. The MSc in Accounting and Financial Management, this program gets full exemptions from CIMA exams up to the final case study. So you get qualified right up to the end of the CIMA exams. ACCA exemptions are also available. Again, it's a master's degree from an accredited university. So, you know, it gives you that advantage that you have a master's degree. for career progression. And again, we cover advanced material, strategy, management, and accounting technology. For the MAC, the entry requirements are a GPA of 3.3. You also have to have Cap 1 exemptions or be in a position to get Cap 1 exemptions by the time the program starts. If you don't have full Cap 1 exemptions, don't panic. It may be possible to get those before the program starts. There's a class size generally between 30 and 50. There's a very expert team of lecturers, and I think this is one of the key advantages of the program. On the MAC, you get people who have taught this material for a long time and are very experienced, and you get personal access to these lectures rather than having to study this material essentially at a distance, which you will be doing in the institute. And there's a very powerful network of alumni, many Big Four partners, and people in finance and consultancy are MAC graduates and understand well the quality of that qualification. The MSc in Accounting and Financial Management, the entry requirements are a 2-1 business degree, so it must be in business, and applicants are required to have demonstrated strong academic ability, a 1-1 or a 2-1 in at least one accounting module and one finance module. So the entry requirements are a bit lower than the MAC. For the MAC, you would need to be pretty much have specialized in accounting at your undergrad in order to get the Cap 1 exemptions. For the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management, you don't need to have specialized in accounting at undergrad, and we take this into account in the way that we teach the program. Again, there's a really expert team of lecturers on the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management. We have one lecturer who is an ex-consultant from Deloitte. We have another lecturer who is CFO of a major PLC in Ireland. And the other lecturers in the program are equally well qualified, both academically and in practical terms. Again, we have a powerful network of alumni from both the school and the program. So just to go through what the paths to qualification are from these two programs, and I'll start with the MAC. So in 21-22, I would presume that you're finishing your undergraduate degree, and this is your final year. Next year, you might go into an accounting services firm like a Big Four firm or some other firm. If you do not do an MAC program and you go in direct, then you will have to take the Cap 1. If you didn't have Cap 1 exemptions, you'd have to take the Cap 1 exam, and then you'd have to take the Cap 2 exam in year 2 and the FAE in year 3. The AMAC, you would go in the year after your undergraduate degree. The year after you go in, you don't have any exams, and then in year 2, you take the FAE. You don't have to take the Cap 2 at all if you've done the AMAC program. The contract finishes about 6 months later for AMAC entrance than for direct entrance. And direct entrance will have spent an extra 6 months in the firm. Now, what is the advantage of the AMAC route from a qualification point of view? Well, I think the advantage is that you get to spend another year in university, you get university tuition, you get access to lecturers, you get the opportunity to really learn this material well, as opposed to somebody who goes direct entry, who is working 7-8 hours a day and is then having to study after that time. It's a really tough 2 years to get through Cap 2 and then through the FAE if you do it that way. So I would see that as a key advantage. You can see that our exam results are very good from the AMAC, with, in 2020, 98% of our students passing the FAE. And you can see at the bottom there, a number of our students have been placed in the FAE exams. The most recent 2 students got joint second place. Now, back to the MSc. There's the path to qualification with CIMA. If you're in an undergraduate program right now, you would do the MSc next year. And after that, you can do the CIMA top exam in the November following graduation. So you would graduate in October, and you could be all set up to do your final CIMA exam in November. This means you're qualified, like, a year and a half from now, which is, I think, the quickest way you can get through any accounting exams for any qualification route. So it bears thinking about that, not next September, but the September after, you could be in a position to do a final CIMA exam and have all your exams out of the way. For CIMA qualification, you do need some work experience as well, 3 years of work experience. If you've done an internship, that will count as well towards CIMA, doesn't count towards Chartered Accountants Ireland. That would reduce that 3-year time if it's relevant experience. But you've got to remember, you will be doing that experience as somebody who has passed all their final exams. This is just a quick salary survey. You can see that newly qualified accountants, the salaries in Dublin are about 50 to 60,000. That's just an average. So some people can get even higher than those salaries, and that's just at the qualification. You can see further up the scale here the kind of salaries that are available for people whose careers bring them into leadership roles within companies. So why should you do an accounting master's? Well, I think you can future-proof your career with a master's from a top business school. It is a different thing than an accountancy qualification, and it means that you have 2 qualifications. You have the accountancy qualification plus a master's from a top business school. And remember, we are accredited by many organizations, but the main 2 are EQUIS, which is a European body of leading business schools, and even more important, AACSB, the American body of leading business schools that have business schools like Harvard and Yale and Ivy League business schools in it. So even an American employer or an Australian employer are going to understand the quality of this institution and the fact that you have a master's from it. It can be a faster route to an accountancy qualification, particularly the CIMA route through the MSc in Accounting and Financial Management. So maybe it might not look faster, but by the time many people have to repeat exams at CAP 2 level, so that slows down their progress considerably. So being able to assimilate the material more gradually as part of the AMAC and do it full time can really help you make sure that you get through these exams without any hiccups. You can develop your accounting, tax, financial management, and accounting technology skills. So our programs develop all of these skills to a high level. Learn in a university environment with great lectures and materials. So this is a key advantage, that the lecturers are very experienced at covering this material and will bring you through all this. You'll have access to the lecturers as well. It's not like sitting in a lecture theatre with 500 students. Both of these programs are practice-based and career-focused. So these programs are focusing on getting you to your career goals. And there's a significant focus on career skills in the programs. So the next step is to talk to the Smurfit admissions team. Laura is here today, so you can post questions. And once I finish this presentation, I'll be looking at the chat as well to see the questions. Or you can contact me directly. I should mention as well that the director of the AMAC program is Dr. Emma McDade. She has just joined UCD from Warwick Business School and the University of New South Wales in Australia as well, two very august institutions. So you can contact her as well. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Please put whatever questions you want into the chat, and we'll do our best to deal with them, or into the Q&A. Sorry. Okay, have we got any questions? Okay. Everybody totally clear what our programs are? Okay, well, I mean, feel free to email myself, john.mccallig@ucd.ie. Monica as well can take queries, particularly if you're wondering about your Cap 1 exemptions or those kind of queries. And Laura can take queries about the admissions process, and you'll get to her with the email address I had up there, Smurfit admissions, isn't it? Smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie.
Yes, and just to mention as well, our applications are open at the moment. So if anyone is thinking of applying, our application's open. So it's we only take one intake programs every year. So our next intake will be for September 2022. So if you have any queries about applications, as John said, you can contact us directly. So our email is smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie. And when you are submitting your application, it's all done online. So you can go straight to the Smurfit website and apply there. What we do need to see though is your academic transcripts to date, and also an up-to-date CV as well. And there are 2 essay questions as part of the application too. So researching the programs is very important, attending webinars like today, and just as well having a look at kind of the career opportunities from the programs too, and looking at what kind of career you would like from undertaking the MSc too. So the application is quite straightforward. So it's just an CV that we require to see. If you do need an English language test as well, and that is as well part of the application too. But if you do have any questions you'd like to answer now, you can post them in the Q&A, or else you can contact us directly at admissions. So it's smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie. Thank you.
Okay, well, we don't have any further questions. So thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for listening to the presentation. And I hope that we have some contact from you, and that we're able to welcome you to the Smurfit School at some point in the future. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.